Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. I'm doing some computer work right now and I have a couple abstracts to write and they're for two very different things, so I thought I would walk you through the process of it. So an abstract is, well, all abstracts are like a summary of something that they are abstracting. That's not a real word, but you get the point. I find that there's two ways to go about it. So when you have an abstract, so like say you already have a full paper written or a really long project written and you're writing an abstract for that, that takes a different process, or I take a different approach for that than I do for an abstract for a conference, because most times when you're doing an abstract for a presentation or like at conferences or a poster or something like that, you're not doing an abstract for your entire research. You're doing it for a very small, like specific subset or like point, and you want to tell a story with it, and you also want to make sure you include the relevant details and stuff like that. So I kind of go about that a little bit different. So starting with the one, this is one for a conference and this is on active learning. So this is not my like main part of my research, so it's kind of like, it's still like part of my thesis, but like anyway, so it's on active learning. So I first start out by, I'm gonna like make space so I can put things on the screen. Okay, so I first start out by kind of doing a little bit of an outline. Start with like background / introduction, then your methods, and then results, and if you're going to include any sort of like a discussion point or something, and like kind of like into your conclusion. That's kind of like the general idea, but then within those I like to further break it up. So in my introduction I will specifically type out questions. So like this one I have, what is active learning and its benefit? So then I answer that question and then I keep going on, like what is the activity, why was it created, who participated, why did they participate, what's the outcome, like your results, next steps, etc. So anything that needs to be included I'll break down into questions and then specifically answer those questions, and by answering those questions you're actually creating the entire like abstract or like the whole paragraph part. So when it's broken up it doesn't feel so overwhelming, and then also at the same time you're able to go through and make sure you don't miss any important points. So I'm going to finish writing this right now and then we will get on to the other abstract. Alright, so I sent off my abstract to one of my supervisors just for their advice and feedback, and there was one section that I needed help with a question. So yeah, that is all set. Alright, so moving on to the other type that I had previously explained. So this one is for a literature review. This was an assignment for my class and it is on peyote. So it's a narrative review, which means that like it's following a storyline rather than just being like these search criteria were used, then we sifted through it, these are the results, this number of studies has X number of things, etc. This is more of like a nice storyline and kind of guiding the reader through it to get to the point. And so I've already mostly finished my like written part, like it's drafted. There's like 2 sections I need to fix. Similarly, I did the same thing for the layout. So again, you start with your general like introduction, then if you have methods would be a good spot there, and your results, and then like conclusion, discussion, etc. And then within those I've broken them down further. So like for the introduction I have specifically the question, what is peyote, and then talking about like mescaline, how does mescaline act on the body, then I go into like distribution, harvest, etc. So I have all of those subtitles, and this works really well even if you don't or aren't allowed to submit the project or you're not using subtitles. You can always go back and remove them, but it's really easy to keep it organized. I'll insert a screenshot of how I have it laid out. So I love the I don't know what this is called, like the text options, not like your not like the font, but like your titles, your headers, normal text, etc. So I use those so that I can use the table of contents, and then it's really easy to navigate on the side. I can like jump to different sections, and it keeps it very organized and also prevents it from feeling too overwhelming with like just a blank page, because I find just sitting there staring at a new document is very intimidating. So having those questions to like prompt me helps a lot. And so this time while writing an abstract, I've already have my like content like listed. So now I'm going to go through each of those sections and see if there's any important points that I want to make sure I include in the abstract. So a really good thing to start is probably whatever intro sentence or intro point that you're making, that's good to include in your abstract. Any like hypotheses or goal of a study, again pending the style of paper, and then or the whole point of writing that paper or article. And then from there go on to talk about any like key pieces of information, so whether these are results or methods, things like that. Kind of a little conclusion sentence. Discussions, some like, I think it depends on what you're submitting. Sometimes discussions or like pieces of the discussion will be included in abstracts, but I've also seen it where it's just like, here's the results, here's our final conclusion, and not really much on the discussion. So it kind of depends what you're going for, but it's kind of the idea. So now that I have everything, like basically my whole paper written, more or less, again I'm missing a couple sections, but I'm going to start out and break down my abstract, and we'll go back through and remove the headers of the abstract, but I just want to make sure that I include certain things, and again so that it's easier to organize. So I'm going to do that right now.